Hey everybody, today we've got the privilege of working with Assured Data Protection, and we're going to be speaking with Stacy Hayes. We're going to be talking about the format of their company, what they do, how they help, how they're applicable to any vertical market essentially. And we're also going to kind of dive into a little bit of a case study around the type of solutions and services that they provide. And Stacy, it's a privilege to have you today. Thank you for taking the time to kind of educate our clients and our partners and things of that nature. That's what this is for, and we sure appreciate your time and effort into making this happen. So tell us a little bit about you and your company, and then let's just dive right in.
Sure, Wade, and thanks a lot for having me. It's a pleasure to be a part of this great thing that you've built. And out of all the work that we've been doing, healthcare is an area that has naturally evolved as a vertical in our world, and we think we're very applicable in that space, obviously, because it's kind of happening organically, word of mouth, and it's growing, and so we're really bullish about this segment of our market, and we're really bearing down on this and starting to specialize. As you said, my name's Stacy Hayes. I'm one of the founders of Assured Data Protection. Assured Data Protection is a business that is headquartered in both Northern Virginia. I'm speaking to you from right outside Dulles Airport, and we're also headquartered in the north of England. We're a global organization, and our specialty is providing data protection, second site replication, and disaster recovery services for our customer base. Our customer base is global. We're deployed in over 40 countries. We have over 500 unique and discrete customers from a customer logo perspective. And I think the thing that your listeners probably are interested in is what's the basis of the technology that we leverage. And what we deliver is a managed service on top of a very popular and relevant platform today called Rubrik. And Rubrik is a Palo Alto, California-based company that has recently been in the news. They just recently went public about a month ago. That's very hard to do when you're a Palo Alto technology company. A lot of those guys get gobbled up. And Rubrik's always had a vision of going public, and I'm really pleased to report that they've successfully made that turn. We moved with them very early. Rubrik's been around for about 11 years. We're celebrating our 8th year in the business, and we are their managed service provider number one. And so we moved early with these guys. We helped them define that route to market. And now we're positioned to help them expand.
Good deal. That's a great overview. And essentially, you guys partnering with them, you're an exclusive. That's exclusively what you deal with. I mean, every day, right? I mean, this is the way you guys work together, and some of the things that you really lay out for them is the way you come into an organization and you'll take that off their plate. I mean, you fully manage this solution, correct?
That is correct. So we call what we do with Rubrik, non-contractual exclusivity.
Right.
When we started the business, two driving factors caused us to focus exclusively on that platform. One was because we had every intention of becoming the best operators of the platform in the world. And as much as that sounds egotistical, we have achieved that. When it comes to operating the Rubrik platform, we're the best. We manage all of those customers in all of those globally diverse areas via one pane of glass, via an operations center that we built, governed by technology that we have created and we operate. The other reason we made that decision was because we knew that it would build a very strong relationship with the field sellers.
Right.
And there is a huge level of trust between us and a Rubrik rep in the field, because they know if they bring us in, there is zero chance that workload is going to end up on a competitive platform. And to your question, yes, it's a fully end-to-end managed service. Essentially, what I like to tell customers is that you're out of the business of the traditional, evaluation of vendors and
Yes.
procuring hardware and monitoring solutions. What you're signing up for is a statement of work associated to your master services agreement. You're signing when you work with Assured, you're buying a business outcome. You're out of the business of having to determine, who's the right vendor and what's the right hardware platform and when do I have to refresh and when do I have to upgrade. All of that is handled. It's an end-to-end managed service.
Perfect explanation of that, because that was actually one of the questions I was going to kind of ask is, end-to-end solution. I know one of the things that I've, in research and learning about the different things you guys are doing, you literally protect, you detect, you recover, the recovery operations and everything. I know, basically there's different tiers that you guys have from what I understand. And it's, you've got the Rubrik application or the appliance and all of those things. And then you've got the management and then the archive, all the way down to the full DR where you can do the full Monty. And there's different tiers of that. So from what we see is you actually are the full gamut. You ensure that resiliency, and they do not have to look anywhere else.
You're right, Wade. And what's going on, what's happened over the last 24 months is, the thing that we can't stop talking about, unfortunately, and that is malware and ransomware, and it affects everybody. It affects very large companies. It affects very small companies. Healthcare is a particularly targeted vertical because of the value of the data that healthcare companies hold, because the name of this game isn't ransomware. It's not paying the ransom. The ransom's kind of the last bad act of the effect. What really this is about is the exfiltration of data and the exploitation of that data in the black market and the secondary markets. And it's hard to come up with data that has more value than medical data.
That's
and
right.
So we are an end-to-end solution to, first and foremost, table stakes, deliver you an immutable backup. Immutability is an overused word. I am happy to say that immutability has to be engineered into the platform of a company. It cannot be bolted on. If you can turn immutability on, that means you can turn it off.
Right.
Rubrik immutability is engineered into the platform. It is coded into the platform. When you turn Rubrik on, it is immutable. And to this point, Wade, with all that's been going on, no one still has been able to crack into and infect or exfiltrate data that is protected on the Rubrik appliances. We go much further than that. We put that Rubrik appliance on premise, but then we host 10 data centers all around the globe where we replicate Rubrik. And Rubrik replication is very efficient. It's always encrypted. It's very secure. It's incrementals only. And the value of having that data in a second location, first off is obvious, right? You need second site redundancy. Right. But once we have those in our data centers around the globe, we have the ability to deliver very cost-effective, demonstrable, drillable disaster recovery as a service. And so the customers have the ability to spin up their workloads in our environment. We give them 2 drills per year. We give them tremendous amounts of documentation after each one of those drills, because that documentation used to be designed to go up to a board of directors. Well, now it has to go external to the company, to auditors, to third-party auditors, and to insurers, because now insurers are asking much more difficult questions before they give out, cyber insurance. Do you have an immutable backup? Do you have a copy off-site? Can you recover it? Have you actually drilled it? Can you produce third-party evidence that has happened? And that is what we deliver as a service.
That is it. I mean, that's exactly the things that's necessary. You got to have. Well, let's as we get close to wrapping up, let's dive into a little bit of a case study. Tell us some examples, or just give us a use case of something that you've dealt with a client.
One of the ones that I love talking about, Wade, is we've got a hospital network in Tennessee, and it's kind of that, it's that, what I would call kind of their, small enterprise. It's not mid market. They're pretty big. They're pretty
Sure.
complicated. They probably got somewhere in the in the magnitude of probably about 160, 180 terabytes of data in multiple locations. So this is a hospital network. It's a small network, so there's 5 locations, but there's one big central location, then there's lots of small ones.
Sure.
And so what we're able to do is protect all that data in its location. So in all of those areas, they have a local immutable protected copy of their data for the just for those everyday use cases. I need to go back and get data from 15 minutes ago. I need to go back and get some data from 4 days ago.
Sure.
I want to leverage the Rubrik platform for test and development. It's an amazing platform because we have this ability to live mount the technology directly from the platform. And so you can bring up a SQL database from 15 minutes ago and run an upgrade against it to see what it does. And if you're happy with it, you can tear it all down and schedule your time to run it in production, or you can just vMotion your SQL database into production and you're done. And so it's an amazing platform for things other than just backup. We then replicate all of that data back to our data center here in Northern Virginia. So there's good geographic distance between their site and our site for the purposes of just having room in case there's some kind of a regional disaster around their production. And by the way, we host 3 of those sites in the United States. We have a site in Chicago and a site in Dallas, in addition to our site in Ashburn, Virginia. And then once there, we have the ability to deliver a disaster recovery drill, and they get 2 of those per year. They get the ability to, because we sit inside a physical colo, they can bring in their own communication devices. We have a tremendous amount of customers that like to leverage SD-WAN to reach us as a secondary disaster recovery site. And so we'll simply become a node on their network. They'll physically host a piece of gear in our data center, and we have that level of flexibility. And they can, and all of this is protected. It's immutable. It's immediate. And what we see, Wade, is, and this hasn't happened in this particular instance, but people will encounter a cyber event. And while we've been calling disaster recovery DRaaS, I've started to call it CRaaS, cyber resiliency as a service, because Rubrik's done an amazing job of protecting your data, but your systems are compromised. You cannot come back up in your primary location.
That's right.
So people will invoke their orchestration, their disaster recovery orchestration in our data center. We'll spin them up. They'll run for 72 hours, for 2 weeks, clean up their primary, all the while their data is in production in our environment. When it comes time to fail back over, our engineers, no professional services, this is all part of the service, work with our customers to very elegantly fail their data back and bring it up in the off hours so that there's 0 downtime.
That is perfect. And one of the things that we deal a lot, if clients, you don't know what you don't know, right? And there's a lot of misconception. If you don't do these things every day, you tend to get lost in the weeds. And I know that there's a big misconception about true DR, your data that's clean and backed up somewhere, and a cyber instance. They don't realize that data can be corrupt as well. So if you don't have the things laid out perfectly, it's not going to do what you think it should do. So this is the perfect solution to ensure the resiliency and that you can recover from an attack or as well as disaster. I mean, so you basically you're covering them both from both sides.
Yeah, the way I like to describe it, Wade, is that in disaster recovery, you've lost your Active Directory. In cyber recovery, your Active Directory is corrupted.
Exactly.
So 2 very different things.
Exactly.
One shoe doesn't fit all. And because of the Rubrik tools, because of our ability to determine blast radius, to do threat hunting, and to isolate the bad code, the virus, identify and isolate the virus and exclude it from the recoveries. We have this ability to come back up, to come up with clean data, to not cause reinfection, get customers back in business quicker, and then help them identify the systems that are infected in their primary, so they're not guessing. That's the problem with cyber attacks, is that if you don't know, it's a, and this is a great medical analogy, right? It's solving problems with a scalpel versus a butter knife.
That's
You got to be very strategic. You need to be able to understand what we call blast radius.
Mm-hmm.
Where did they get? How long have they been there? How far back do they go? If you can determine that, you can minimize the amount of data that you lose when you're cutting back to get to your clean data. And you also have a much better understanding of your risk profile as it relates to what may or may not have been exfiltrated and out there in the wild for the bad guys to use against you at a later date.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, to summarize it, I mean, it sounds like it's pretty simple. Assured data protection that's it. That's what the client needs. And you can handle most anything that they have thrown at you.
Yeah, what I would say, look, in all honesty and transparency, Rubrik is an amazing platform, and there's a segment of every market that is applicable for MSP, and there's a tremendous amount of people investing in Rubrik and operating Rubrik on their own. They've got the people, they got the facilities, they got the multiple data centers, and they got that appetite to run that solution for themselves. But for customers that want to outsource that responsibility to a third party that is an expert in that field, then
Yes.
we are that natural choice. There's no one out there better than Assured Data Protection to run Rubrik as a service and deliver it as a consumption, as an OpEx, pay for use, fully managed service than Assured Data Protection.
There you go. That makes a lot of sense. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time, Stacy. We enjoyed learning a little bit about it, and we understand that there's definitely going to be some opportunities to come. And again, thank you for your partnership, and we look forward to getting this information out to some clients and getting some use cases going on.
Yep. Look forward to seeing you face to face soon. And again, thanks a lot for taking this time to hear a little bit about our story. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.